Thousands of boxes of Stouffer's and Lean Cuisine frozen meals are being pulled out of grocery store freezers because of a health hazard.
Do you ever wonder if the frozen foods you trust most are quietly doing more harm than good? For decades, they were seen as a smart, easy solution. Just heat and serve, no questions asked. But what if some of the ones sitting in your freezer right now are not what they seem? Today at the Hidden Menu, we take a deep dive into the frozen aisle's hidden risks, especially for seniors. So let us start with 1. Frozen dinners that cut corners on nutrition. There is something comforting about tearing open a box, peeling back that plastic film, and hearing the soft hum of the microwave warming dinner. For many seniors, frozen dinners were once seen as a reliable solution, quick, familiar, and safe. But today, that quiet trust may be costing more than you think. The frozen dinner aisle is stacked with promises: balanced, complete, heart healthy. But when you read the back of the box, what you often find is a long list of unpronounceable ingredients, sky-high sodium levels, and nutrients that barely register. One retired nurse shared that her frozen chicken dinner had over 900 milligrams of sodium, nearly half her recommended daily amount, in one small tray. That is not an accident. Manufacturers rely on salt, sugar, and stabilizers to extend shelf life and boost flavor without using fresh ingredients. The result is a meal that looks complete but leaves your body undernourished. Many popular frozen dinners aimed at older consumers quietly reduce protein while boosting carbs, creating meals that spike blood sugar but do little to support muscle or heart health. Worse still, portion sizes are shrinking. What once filled a plate now barely covers half, leading many to eat two at a time, doubling the salt, fat, and additives. And those heart symbols and healthy labels? They are often based on outdated criteria or internal brand standards, not independent health reviews. For seniors managing blood pressure, diabetes, or kidney function, these meals can quietly undermine weeks of careful progress. Former food industry consultants have even admitted that certain senior-friendly meals are formulated more for flavor and shelf stability than for actual dietary benefit. It is a quiet trade-off. Give up the time and effort of cooking, but take on hidden health risks in return. And because it happens one meal at a time, you may never notice until it shows up in a blood test or a doctor's visit. What we trusted to make life easier might slowly be making it harder. 2. Frozen breaded meats that disguise fillers and fats. There is something familiar about frozen chicken tenders, fish sticks, or breaded pork cutlets. They remind you of family meals, school lunches, and easier times. That crunchy coating, the golden brown color, the ease of baking it straight from the freezer. But what hides beneath that breadcrumb shell is not always what it used to be. Today, many breaded frozen meats are less meat and more mystery. A recent study found that some frozen chicken products contain as little as 50% actual chicken. The rest made up of starches, binding agents, and restructured meat paste. The label might still say chicken breast, but that does not mean it is whole muscle. For seniors watching cholesterol, fat, or sodium, this matters more than ever. Those breaded coatings are often flash fried before freezing, meaning even a baked product can carry high levels of trans fats and oils. One retiree shared that her oven-baked fish fillets left a slick of grease on the tray, despite being advertised as healthy. The trick is in the wording: baked, not fried, may only apply to the final step, not the full preparation. Add to that the fillers inside: potato starch, soy protein, corn syrup solids, and suddenly your frozen protein looks more like processed dough. These products also rely heavily on chemical preservatives and flavor enhancers to survive months in cold storage. Former food scientists have admitted that these additives are used to mimic the texture and moisture of real meat, even when the meat content is low. And for those with dental issues, digestion concerns, or sensitive stomachs, the artificial texture can be hard to tolerate. You think you are eating something familiar, but what your body gets is something else entirely. The golden crunch distracts you from what is missing inside. And over time, those missing nutrients and extra fillers start to show up in places you do not expect. 3. Frozen breakfast items that spike blood sugar. The sound of a microwave dinging and the smell of warm maple syrup can bring back memories of cozy mornings. Frozen waffles, pancakes, breakfast sandwiches, simple comforts that once made breakfast easier and more affordable. But for seniors, these frozen breakfast staples can quietly disrupt energy levels, blood sugar, and long-term health. Many of these products are loaded with refined flour, added sugars, and syrups that create a quick spike in blood glucose followed by a crash. One retired teacher shared she began feeling dizzy mid-morning until her doctor traced the cause back to the frozen French toast sticks she was eating each day. The box called them wholesome and lightly sweetened, but the nutrition label told a different story. More sugar than a candy bar and little to no fiber or protein. For older adults managing diabetes or insulin resistance, this kind of breakfast can wreak havoc. Worse still, many of these frozen items use synthetic syrups or flavorings that trigger cravings instead of fullness. That means by mid-morning, you are hungry again and reaching for more. Some frozen breakfast sandwiches are no better. Industry insiders have revealed that certain brands reduce egg content and use imitation cheese to cut costs, even while raising sodium levels to maintain flavor. So what feels like a hearty meal is often a hollow one. The eggs might be powdered, the sausage filled with cereal binders, and the whole grain waffles mostly bleached flour with a hint of coloring. Seniors who rely on these products for quick breakfast may slowly develop energy crashes, blood pressure spikes, and imbalanced nutrition without ever connecting the dots. The packaging sells warmth and nostalgia, but the contents may be robbing your body of what it needs most at the start of the day. A quiet warning hidden behind a golden crust. If this is starting to sound familiar or hit a little too close to home, let us know in the comments. Quietly hit like if you have been there too, and subscribe to the hidden menu, because what comes next might be hiding in your freezer right now. 4. Frozen pizzas. That trade flavor for sodium. There is something easy and satisfying about pulling a frozen pizza from the freezer, popping it into the oven, and letting the familiar smell fill the kitchen. For many seniors living alone or cooking less, it feels like a simple way to bring back the comfort of Friday nights or family meals. But what comes out of the box today is not what it used to be. Frozen pizzas have quietly changed, not just in size, but in what is hiding inside the crust and sauce. A single serving pizza from a popular brand can contain over 1,000 milligrams of sodium, and that is before you add any sides or drinks. That is nearly half the recommended daily amount for someone over 60 in just one sitting. Manufacturers boost salt levels to preserve shelf life and intensify flavor after months in cold storage. And it does not stop at sodium. Many of these pizzas now use imitation cheese products, meat toppings filled with fillers, and crusts laced with industrial oils. One retired factory worker shared that he felt bloated and dizzy after eating half a frozen pizza, only to find out it had nearly 2 grams of salt and 3 different types of chemical preservatives. Food scientists confirm that frozen pizzas are engineered for taste and texture, not for balance or nutrition. The crusts often contain added sugars and emulsifiers that mimic the softness of fresh dough, while the tomato sauce is packed with citric acid and sweeteners to mask the metallic aftertaste of processed cheese. Seniors who eat these meals thinking they are just having a little treat may be consuming far more sodium, trans fats, and preservatives than they realize. Over time, this can contribute to blood pressure spikes, fluid retention, and increased strain on the kidneys and heart. And because the portions are rarely filling, many people eat the entire pizza, not just a slice or two. It is a quiet overload, one that adds up slice by slice. 5. Frozen vegetables with hidden additives. Frozen vegetables used to feel like the safest choice in the freezer aisle, a healthy shortcut. Just open the bag, pour into a pan, and dinner has a side of color and fiber. But lately, even these familiar staples have started to change. Many frozen vegetable products now come pre-seasoned, pre-sauced, or pre-steamed, packaged to look more convenient but loaded with hidden additives. What looks like simple broccoli might actually include salt, sugar, butter flavoring, modified starch, or even artificial color. One retired dietitian was shocked to find her garlic herb green beans contained 9 separate ingredients, including preservatives and anti-caking agents. The vegetables themselves had been blanched until limp, then coated in a film of sauce to hold flavor during months in deep freeze. Industry insiders have admitted that some brands intentionally overseason vegetables to make them taste more indulgent and to mask the fact that the produce was low grade before freezing. For seniors trying to manage salt intake, stay hydrated, or follow a renal diet, these changes can be harmful without being obvious. Even steamable bags labeled as lightly seasoned can carry over 300 milligrams of sodium per half cup. And the sauces often contain powdered dairy or soy additives that can upset sensitive stomachs. The packaging rarely makes this clear. You think you are buying a vegetable side, but you may be buying a processed food dressed as something healthy. And because frozen foods are trusted for convenience, few people stop to read the back of the label. Seniors relying on these products to balance out frozen entrees may unknowingly be doubling up on preservatives and sodium without ever opening a salt shaker. The promise of convenience becomes a quiet cost, and the most basic food groups are no longer as simple as they seem. 6. Frozen fruit blends that spike sugar intake. It feels good to start the day with a smoothie or a bowl of fruit. Something colorful, something sweet, something that feels like it is doing your body good. Frozen fruit blends seem like the perfect answer. No prep, no spoilage, and always ready when you are. But for seniors watching their sugar, digestion, or calorie intake, these blends can carry quiet risks most people never expect. Many frozen fruit products, especially those labeled for smoothies, contain added sugars, syrups, or sweetened concentrates that are not always visible from the front label. One retired teacher was surprised to learn her mixed berry antioxidant blend had added grape juice concentrate, turning what should have been a tart mix into a sugar-loaded snack. The packaging never said sweetened. Instead, it used terms like burst of flavor or energy blend. Food industry marketers know that most shoppers associate fruit with health, and they leverage that trust to sell enhanced products with higher profit margins. Even unsweetened fruit blends can cause unexpected spikes in blood sugar when blended or juiced, especially when consumed without protein or fiber to slow absorption. And because many seniors are trying to manage type 2 diabetes or insulin resistance, a daily smoothie might be doing more harm than good, especially when portion sizes are larger than they used to be. Some blends also include hidden starches to prevent clumping or ice crystal formation. These starches can alter digestion, add unnecessary carbohydrates, and cause bloating or discomfort in sensitive individuals. Former food technicians revealed that some fruit pieces are soaked in stabilizer solutions before freezing to maintain color and texture, adding substances your body does not need. You thought you were reaching for the healthiest thing in the freezer. But inside that bag is a complicated formula of sugar, starch, and marketing. And unless you stop to look closely, the harm stays hidden behind the frost. 7. Frozen pot pies that load up on fat and fillers. There is a certain comfort in peeling back the carton of a frozen pot pie. The golden crust, the bubbling filling. It brings back memories of cold evenings, warm kitchens, and full plates. For many seniors, frozen pot pies feel like an easy nod to real home cooking. But underneath that flaky pastry lies something far heavier than it seems. One popular chicken pot pie on the market contains over 40 grams of fat, more than 1,000 calories in a single small portion. That is nearly half the daily caloric intake for many older adults trying to maintain a healthy weight. And it is not just the calories. These pies often contain heavy doses of saturated fat, thickened gravies made with hydrogenated oils, and processed meats filled with sodium and preservatives. What looks like chicken or beef on the box is often chopped, pressed, and mechanically separated meat, restructured to hold shape under heat. Industry sources have confirmed that many frozen pot pies rely on bulk fillers like potato flakes, modified cornstarch, and margarine blends to stretch the contents while cutting real ingredient costs. You might expect carrots and peas, but get more thickener than vegetable. One retired woman shared that her favorite brand used to be hearty and satisfying, but recently the filling felt thinner, the crust greasier, and the flavor oddly salty. That is not nostalgia. It is reformulation. These products change quietly over time to maintain profit margins while holding onto brand loyalty. For older adults managing cholesterol, heart conditions, or trying to avoid excessive sodium, the risks are often hidden until it is too late. A flaky crust masks more than just gravy. It hides a recipe that may have been altered dozens of times since you first trusted it. And while the warmth and ease feel familiar, what you are putting in your body may be working against you, one forkful at a time. 8. Frozen appetizers that sneak in dangerous oils. Those tiny bites in the frozen aisle, mini quiches, mozzarella sticks, potato skins, look harmless enough. For seniors hosting a small gathering, watching a movie, or just wanting a snack, they feel like a fun little indulgence. But the real problem is not the size of these snacks. It is what they are made with and how they are made. Most frozen appetizers are pre-fried in industrial seed oils before they are even packaged. That means even if you bake them at home, you are still consuming oils that were superheated months ago and stored in cold warehouses. Oils like soybean, canola, and corn are used because they are cheap and stable under heat, but they also oxidize quickly, forming compounds that can increase inflammation in the body. For older adults with joint issues, autoimmune conditions, or heart problems, that low-grade inflammation builds quietly over time. One retired gentleman shared that after switching from homemade snacks to frozen appetizers, he began experiencing digestive discomfort and swelling in his hands, something he had never connected to food. Nutritionists say it is common. The body reacts subtly to highly processed oils, especially in people already managing chronic conditions. And because the snacks are small, people often eat more than a serving, doubling or tripling the intake of these compounds in one sitting. Add in chemical stabilizers, artificial flavors, and preservatives, and you are not just eating a snack. You are eating something engineered for appearance, not nutrition. The labeling rarely makes this clear. Words like oven-ready, crispy, or flavor-packed tell a story of convenience, but hide the industrial complexity underneath. Seniors who rely on these products for ease or nostalgia may be introducing small stressors into the body again and again. Over time, those little moments of indulgence can lead to bigger consequences. And the worst part? You never see it coming because the box is smiling back at you the whole time. 9. Frozen pasta meals that disguise empty calories. A hot plate of pasta with creamy sauce or rich meatballs can bring back memories of family dinners, Sunday nights, and recipes passed down through generations. So when you see that in the freezer aisle, ready in minutes, no cleanup, it feels like a gift. But the truth behind frozen pasta meals is far less comforting. These products are often packed with simple starches, low-quality cheeses, and imitation sauces that spike blood sugar and leave you hungry all over again. One retired chef shared that after eating a frozen lasagna he once loved, he felt bloated, sluggish, and strangely unsatisfied. When he checked the label, he found the meal had over 70 grams of carbohydrates and barely 10 grams of protein. That imbalance is common. Manufacturers bulk up meals with pasta and cream-based sauces to increase weight without adding expensive proteins or vegetables. And the cheeses? Often blends of modified dairy, oils, and powdered milk. Not true mozzarella or parmesan. Some frozen pasta dishes even include food dyes to mimic the richness of tomato sauce that is actually watered down and thickened with gums. For seniors managing weight, insulin sensitivity, or digestion issues, these meals can quietly work against progress. You feel full for a moment, but it does not last. Worse still, that quick burst of glucose can trigger fatigue, cravings, and inflammation, all wrapped up in a tray that promised satisfaction. Former food developers have said these meals are designed to be craveable, not nourishing. And because the packaging leans on words like classic, Italian, or home style, the emotional pull masks what is missing inside. The flavor may remind you of something real, but what your body receives is empty calories, shallow nutrition, and a slow erosion of health disguised as comfort. If any of these frozen foods made you stop and think, share your story in the comments, tap the like button if this helped you see things more clearly, and subscribe to The Hidden Menu so you never open your freezer without knowing what is really inside. And remember, the truth is not always on the menu.